Marlon, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the Positive Podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Yourself?
Good, good. Yeah, all good, mate. All good.
Yeah,
It's um, it's really great to have you on the show because we've been on Instagram connected for quite some time, and I really like your content and what you're about, and what your content's about, and I just thought it'd be great to connect with you for you to share how you got into setting up um what we're about to talk about, and like
yeah,
in your background and anything you'd like to share. So like, how did you kind of get into what you're doing? And
yeah.
did you want to start and go for
Yeah, sure, sure.
ways?
So I founded Shine last year, and it's basically a community interest company that works with people, children and young adults with autism and ADHD. So we do like gaming events, networking events, want to do some cooking classes, arts and crafts. And the basis of it is just to get people connected that have autism and ADHD, to get them sort of leaving their homes and interacting with each other. And the reason I sort of came up with it was really by sort of chance or accident, however you want to put it, because I have two twin sisters. They're 18 now, and I was literally like a sort of a brother, but I was more like a father to them because the dad wasn't around, so I raised them, and they developed autism and ADHD, and it was getting more prevalent the older they got. Now, one of them, she's what they call high functioning. So, she masks it. She has friends. She has a boyfriend. Well, she did, but that's another story. But yeah, she's active. She does she's really sociable and stuff like that. And you wouldn't even know that, and she has autism. But my other sister is interesting, like a flick of a coin. She's not high functioning. She's what they call low functioning. So she does communicate, but she's very like if you meet her, you'd think she was either rude or just very, very shy. And she wants to say stuff. She wants to be communicative. She wants to open up, but she just can't. There's like a barrier. She can't go out. She can't really go out without anyone else, without assistance, and do loads of things. So it was always a struggle to kind of like connect with her. And I noticed that when we play games, because she's into retro games like Zelda and Kingdom Hearts and that kind of stuff. So, and I'm into gaming too. So the only time I'd sort of like connect with her and she'd open up and like was when we were playing games, and she'd tell me about the lore of the characters. She'd be telling me, "Oh, do you want to know what the backstory to this and that?" I was like, "Wow, like she's really sort of engaging in this." So I was like, okay, I'd like to find something that she can do in the community because they live in West London. I'm in North London. So I was like, okay, let me try and see if I can find her in West London that she can go and play games. But man, it was like either like a long waiting list I'm still waiting. This was last year, where they just don't get back to you, or nothing was. I wasn't finding anything suitable. So someone just said to me, like, why don't you sort of like start something with her? And then that's I was like, okay, let me try. And then that's sort of how Shine came about. So I just bought loads of games and loads of consoles and things like this. And then, I got her around one day to play different games and stuff, and she really enjoyed it. So then I had the idea to sort of actually make this real, make this a real thing that other people that have autism and ADHD can sort of like, be part of. So that's like when I founded, sorry, Shine, and then we had our first event, our first actual launch event. It was last year, April the 18th, I think. So it was a gaming event. So you had consoles, new and old consoles. You had board games, card games, all these sort of things. And you had like a competition, like an EA sports competition. And it was really good, man. We had a really big turnout, and a lot of people came, and a lot of people came up to me and said, "Yeah, we want to do this more." So, yeah, we're just in a basis now of trying to create more functions, more events, and we can try and do it on like a weekly basis, maybe on a weekend. But yeah, that's sort of how Shine sort of came about.
No, I love that, and I love the fact that you've got people close to you who you recognized. Like you said, your sister, you're playing video games and like not being able to communicate in certain situations and then have that confidence. Whereas you recognized like she was playing video games and that was like an opening to for her to feel comfortable in probably having conversation more around certain areas. And I think there's so many people, isn't there? Like there's such a a vast kind of broad area where people fit into being ADHD, autistic, or and there's all different like people. Some people are more sensitive, aren't they, than others, and then some people are more so. And I think it's quite you know quite a big thing now where people are. I think there's more people this generation, isn't there, in these generations that or ADHD or have certain traits of it. And I think it's great that you've created something where people can feel comfortable in a space to communicate, play games, network, and connect with other people who
Mm.
they feel alike to.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think there's a lot of people who, some people that I know who kind of feel bad about it. There's like, sometimes stigma, and sometimes, growing up, sometimes they might feel a certain way about it. And I think it's really difficult for some people because they kind of have to try and learn to kind of accept that it's okay, and it is okay, and it's completely normal. And
yeah.
there are people out there who they will gel with who exactly the same, going through the same things that they're going through.
Yeah, I think more so now, definitely it's more open to say, you've got this, you're autistic or you've got ADHD. I think before, um, well, I think, I think it's grown. I think there was more people that have it, but I think it was always there, because even I'm thinking about my family members. There's like, I have this uncle and, he was just referred to as, he's slow, he's just like this and that. And man, he was autistic, man. But at the time, you're just thinking, yeah, uncle, this, So I won't name him or anything like that, but my uncle. But yeah, as you go, as I've learned more about it, and just the way the awareness has sort of grown, I'm like, yeah, he's autistic, and how many other people? Listen, even me, like when we had that event, I noticed something about myself as well. I feel more comfortable in surroundings with people that are autistic or have ADHD than I do people that don't. And I've felt that for a long time. I don't know why that is. Well, I think personally, I think there's something there that I don't know what. I was gonna try and I went to get to a GP to speak about getting diagnosed, but yeah, they told me the waiting list was 2 years. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's a long time.
yeah, it's incredibly long. And then if you go private, it's very expensive. They kind of price you out of it. So I was like, okay, well, I need to look at this again. But I don't know. I've all in my throughout my life, I've always had this thing where I've always felt like I've tried to be. I remember going to school and I was trying to be like the cool kids. I just didn't feel like comfortable doing it. It felt like an act. Like I just didn't really want to do it. It felt like I had to put this act on and then I could go home and relax. Where when I'm with people that are neurodiverse, I do feel it myself. I'm just feel more at home. I haven't got to put the guards up or anything like that. I can literally be myself. And I think I do struggle with this thing of trying to be myself. I do feel that there's a certain character or this certain perception of me that people expect, and and it's tiring. It is tiring at times because you have to be a certain way, talk a certain way. Well, I feel like I'm an eccentric person. I feel like I'm weird at times, sort of thing. And just with people that are like that, man, I just feel more comfortable because I'm like, man, you get it. Like, I could be myself. So that was something interesting about that event that I sort of like really started putting the dots together.
I love that, and it's like you said in the event, you related to those other people, and you could identify, with how they were with yourself. And I think, like you said, it's that energy, isn't it? Because I think there's a like a norm in society, a expectation of how you kind of, I think, have to be or come across, isn't it? And I think if you're put into a box almost a bit like at school and you've got to follow a certain suit, I can imagine that was pretty, difficult if you're, do you know what I mean, not wanting to go along with, the norm of how other people are. And I
Yeah.
think, there's a lot of, well, I know like some people are, autistic and I've got ADHD, and I, like you said, I feel really comfortable with, people like that. And I think I like probably might be ADHD possibly. I tend to do a lot at once sometimes, and I can be doing, like focused. Sometimes even when I read books, I've got like two or three books that I'm reading at the same time. At the
Oh
same time,
wow, wow,
that I'll like my attention will like go from one to the other, and then
yeah. I,
so
I read a book and then I get this thing where if I read a page, I don't know what I've read. So I've got to read it
yeah,
back. Like I read through
yeah,
it and I'm like, what the hell did I just, what was that? And I
yeah.
have to read it a couple times to take the information in. I get that.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And I think it's kind of coming more into light and it's more accepted like now. And I think it's a shame that, in the past there was this kind of like stigma with it. And I think that really probably affected people's confidence. But I think it's nice that people can collaborate with the events that you put on. And I've seen the content and the footage, and it's awesome. And I think, like FIFA games, and it's that connectivity, isn't it? And I think like if people are shutting themselves off and they're kind of probably dwelling on stuff or in their head, or worrying about things, it can be quite difficult. But through what you do in hosting events and what you've created with Shine is awesome. And I think it really gives people confidence. And, the awesome thing is as well, that people will go to the event that you've created and Shine, and they'll make friends and they'll connect with people and they'll might go for coffee or do you know what I mean? Or play football or whatever it is.
Yeah, literally what you just said happened. I was just there in the event. I saw two people, they didn't know each other, and they were just talking and struck up a conversation, and they exchanged numbers with each other. So that was good to see. But also, there's this a grandma. She came up to me, and I think her son was there in one of the games and stuff, and she's saying, "Oh, listen, like, it's good to see this, and I think he's getting into a lot of trouble, and it'd be nice to have like a role model or some a mentor, and is that something you could look into doing that sort of thing?" So I contacted or his mum contacted me, and yeah, we was talking about it, and it was like saying, yeah, he struggles to open up, but just seeing him there was really seeing him in a new light, and could I sort of like mentor him for a day and just see how it goes, and yeah, went to the science museum a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, something like that, and it was really cool. It was just hanging with him, and it's similar to my sister where he doesn't talk much, but you have to find you sort of gauge like what is he interested in and then focus on that, and then you just focus on that, you can get more information out of him, just get him to be a bit more relaxed. So yeah, it really opened up some connections, man. It was yeah, it was good to see, just getting away from the lives that they have and at home, and just being together and just sort of interacting. That was definitely, and not just that, also even the like people that care for like the carers and the parents and stuff like that, seeing them sort of communicating and talk about their sort of circumstances and things like this, man. There's like a real like community feel to it, which I love, which I don't see as much anymore. So yeah, I was really quite proud of that.
No, I love that. And I think that's like one of the awesome things, isn't it? Seeing those connections built in person, firsthand. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you creating Shine and putting that together. And I think people do connect over the internet, but I think, there's nothing like meeting in person, and for them to build those bridges and connect with new friends is awesome. And for people to be able to share their experiences. And I think also like it reminds me of my brother. My brother's autistic, and he's like really like amazing. Talking about space, science, certain topics he's really strongly about. And I think sometimes I'll finish work or I'll see him, and it'll be like in the evening, and it'll be blah 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 blah, blah, like all this energy, and like finite details and
Yeah,
enthusiasm about even like I don't know, a keyring or something like that. Something that you just think, oh, it's just a keyring, but it will like the detail and the texture of it, and is it brass? Like the finite details
yeah,
the average person wouldn't look at, and I
yeah,
find that fascinating and ever so clever.
yeah, yeah. How old is your brother?
I should know this. I think he's early 20s.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that's fascinating. That's like my sister. Yeah, she just talk about these. She bought this book. It was like to do with Zelda, but it had all the details, like the lore of it and like the
Mm.
history of the characters and their backstories and stuff like this, man. Just going through it. It was a big book, like more than 400 pages. I'm like, wow, but yeah, similar. Yeah, they find something. They hyper focus on certain things, isn't it? And then they just sort of like delve into that, and you see the excitement on their faces.
Mm. Yeah, it's awesome, and I
Mm.
think it's great because like in society, like especially with social media, there's a lot of people that comfortably talking about it and opening up about it, and I think for other people opening up about things, it helps other people to open up as well, doesn't it? And to connect with others online. I mean, there's loads of people who are autistic, ADHD, who are successful, and I think it's people shouldn't let things hold them back and or see things as a bad thing and just accept who they are ultimately.
Yeah, yeah. I do think in the sort of work remit, I do think there's this. I was reading something, an article where what is it, the personality test that they do now?
Oh,
When
is
you,
it the Myers Briggs,
I think so. I think so. Yeah. I think so. Where
INFJ, and all
yeah, where it's like just the way your mind sort of works. I've noticed that people have said that it kind of, no matter what they put, it just finds a way to sort of like deter them or just say they're not acceptable or not the right fit for the job. And I do think there's not an understanding of how the mind works. So okay, so you may be someone that's autistic. I've noticed they may get from A to Z, but they may do it a very unconventional way, but they will get to Z in their own sort of way. But I think it's that journey to Z that I think that a lot of them are getting stopped on or just not penalized, but just there's this sort of like bias against it. And I do think it's in regards to work, and I see it actually. I see it in the previous jobs that I've done, where people have been autistic working it, and it's sort of been the way they work is not conventional. And like, well, why are you doing like this? Why are you doing like that? But it's like just let them get to where they need to get to. They'll get that, they will deliver. So I think there does need to be an understanding on that sort of level as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think in the workplace as well, people I think who are ADHD or autistic, sometimes certain jobs might just suit them. They've got to find what suits them with how they work, I think. And I've got a colleague who's got ADHD, and she'd be like blah 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 blah, blah. And but the job she was doing, she had to manage lots of stuff.
Right.
So it suited her. She was able to do it. Do you know what I mean? And I think that suited how she thinks, how she's wired, and how she functions. And I think it's finding like 'cause I know sometimes people autistic might find like certain social situations overwhelming, or you know I think there were different things, isn't they? Like sometimes sounds, sometimes like
Yeah.
touch, like if that makes sense, like things that are soft or like blankets, that type of thing.
Yeah. The feel of it. Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, because I've not looked heavily into it, or but from what I've noticed from people I know, um, yeah, and I think sometimes certain sounds can trigger people, can't it, and stuff like that.
Yeah. It could be sort of overwhelming. My sister, she gets overwhelmed by the different things happening. So if there's something on the phone playing and there's something on the TV and there's something else, you can see her just starting to get like, like it's too much for her. So she'd have to leave the room and she'd walk out and stuff. And I remember she used to have this weird sort of, well, I thought it was weird, but no, she had this phobia of this. I don't even know what it was, man. It came out of a cracker. It was like some sort of paper, bit of different. I don't know what the material, but that's soft paper. And yeah, man, she was scared of it. Like, and I was just like, you don't. I didn't know as yet. I didn't understand it. So I was like, well, why are you scared of this thing? I just thought she was just being, extra. But I needed the awareness myself. So I've sort of been aware because I tell you what, this is about, I'll be honest with you, this is about, I don't know, 10 years ago, 5 years, no, let's say 7, 10 years ago. I would have seen some of these things. I was like, oh man, just, get over it. Like, I would have been like, yeah, come on, don't use it as an excuse, man. But the more I've learned about it, the more I had to make myself aware that, no, this ain't, like, some people physically can't do certain things or they just look at things a totally different way. It's not an excuse. It's not like a get out clause. Oh yeah, I've got this. So autism. I can't do this piece of work. I can't function here and all, that kind of stuff. No, it's real stuff, man, real life, and I see it. So that's why I'm really big on this speaking about it, awareness, and even in like the black community that I'm from, I know we have this. We don't have the awareness isn't that as great as it should be, and we just looking at my family members. And I've spoken to a few of my friends about this. Like, yeah, there's a few family members they don't understand something like when someone says they're autistic or something, they just be like, yeah, you just grow up, or these sort of things. So I do think I'm really big on that as well. Getting that message out, get the ethnic communities like there is this thing, man. There's this awareness we need to have. We need to this understanding we need to have because it's a real thing, and it's I don't know if it's grow. I don't know if it's growing or more people are getting diagnosed with it. I don't know. Do you have any sort of ideas on that?
I've heard that. I mean, my mum's a psychotherapist, and she said there's some studies. And I've not looked into it too much, but she said, um, is it when a high portion of babies that are born and that are cesareans
Right.
of
Okay.
being autistic, dependent on being
Really
autistic?
interesting.
Because I don't know if it's because of the trauma when the birth and stuff like that. I'm not too sure, but
Yeah.
I like you said, I think there's definitely certain cultures or certain parts of life people I think kind of quite set in their ways or think, well, this is how you need to be. And then obviously if there's someone who might be a bit different, then it's like they're wanting them to follow suit. And I think it needs to be more accepted, like you said, of people's differences and that's so it's okay. People everyone's different, you know what I mean? And everyone's human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, I think there's more of an increase in it. Why that is, I'm not entirely sure, but I know that's one article that has been out there, and I
Mm.
think it could be the how fast life's sped up, and it's quite overwhelming, isn't it? It can be quite
Mm.
overwhelming sometimes when you're in certain situations. There's a lot going on, and social media and everything else, and but like you said, I think it's important that people do talk about and have these conversations and accept uh, people's differences.
Yeah. Which I think is happening more and more now, which is good. And there's this oh, I can't remember the name of it, but there's this show, detective show on channel, is it Channel 4, something like that, where it shows
Oh,
you.
this
Do you know
sorry.
it?
Is it not Luther, is it?
No. She's it's this girl. She's autistic, and she works for a detective. It's an English program, recent actually, and I can't remember the name of it now. But this is good because it kind of just shows some of the, she gets overstimulated. She's uncomfortable in like certain situations, and she has to exit certain places when the environment's getting a bit too overwhelming. And I think that's this program which I can't remember the name of, but I've watched it. Is like, yeah, it's good to have those sort of things because it's something you can sort of relate to as well, and it's something inspiring because she's very good at her job. Like that's people may not be able to like communicate with her in a conventional sense, but she's brilliant at her job and just needs more of understanding of how to communicate with her. So I think, yeah, things like this, man, having programs out there and things that you can look at and go, oh, this person's like me, that kind of thing. I think that's always good for any sort of subject material when you can relate to something, someone in an aspiring way, not in like a bad way. When it's like inspiring to you, they're doing something good, man. I think this is good for lets you kind of can focus on it. I remember watching this. I used to watch this show, man. My mum used to watch this. I watched it. It was Quincy, Dr. Quincy. He was like a
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
yeah, he was a doctor, and then yeah, I used to love it, and I went into biomedical science because of it. I mean, I failed, but I went into it anyway. It took me a part of the way. I mean, yeah, it didn't go well after that, but it's just like an example, an unsuccessful example, but an example of like focusing on something positive and maybe trying to, angle your life and to see them as a role model.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's okay if like things don't work out. I mean, I went to university and I dropped out and I didn't want to, do what I did criminology for a couple of months and I was like,
Wow.
yeah, I was like, I don't want to do this, and then going
Right.
back into work. But it's all lessons, isn't it, and stepping stones. But like you said, it's finding, role models and people that you gel with, I think, and finding your kind of tribe, if that makes sense. Like people that accept you, understand you, get you, and try and find more people like that. And I think, through what you're doing, people have got that. They've got people who, are like-minded and, they feel the same as and they can connect with and relate to. And I think that's hugely important. I think even yeah, I think we all need that. And I think if people can do that, then it's that one step in the right direction, isn't it? Which then
Yeah.
helps them build their confidence and feel more comfortable in themselves, because that's what it's all about, I think, at the end of the day. And I've got close relationships with some people who are autistic, and I've gone to um, I've been in certain situations with them. And like you said, they felt overwhelmed or they've been in situations they've had to get out of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this person is really close to me. I wasn't aware of all of that. I didn't know that they had, you know, autism and stuff. And it all kind of came out later on in the future. And they felt really bad about it and had, bad experiences with it through school and whatever else. And I think I've kind of probably helped them to be more accepting of it, do you know what I mean? And kind of learn to deal with things in a certain way.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But I kind of like probably felt frustrated because I was like, well, I kind of knew there was something, but it wasn't being vocalized.
Yeah.
But over time, things were vocalized and we spoke about it, and I was like, it's fine,
Yeah.
it's
That's
fine. Do you know what I mean? It's okay.
yeah. 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 That's good.
But what is there anything that you want to promote with like Shine and what you're doing?
Yeah, yes. So yeah, we've got another event. This one's a singles event. So it's, in the aim of maybe finding someone or even just making connections with friends. So it's happening
Nice.
on, yeah, thank you. Yeah. So it's happening on the 24th of April. Yeah, to promote, autism and ADHD friendly. You could bring family and friends along. And it's in Muswell Hill. But like, I don't know if you could put like links or whatever to
Yeah, I could put links in. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, because the tickets are on Eventbrite there. But yeah, really, it's gonna be we're gonna have games there, so board games and things like this. Gonna have a little taster sort of session where, just break the ice, that sort of thing. We're thinking of having like a maybe a little speed dating thing there as well for people to do if they want to, that is.
Nice.
Yeah. And there's like a free drink and a free oyster, which is random, I know. But if you like oysters, if you're into your seafood, yeah, man, you could get it there. So
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, and we got the idea from you want to do network events, but we're watching. Me and my partner was watching this dating show. It was about people that have disabilities and things like this, and they're dating.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm rubbish with names. Sorry, I can't remember the name of this.
That's all right.
But yeah, we've got an idea from there, and it's just like you just watching it, it's like, yeah, man, everyone wants love, man. You know what I mean? No matter who you are, like connection or even just like friendships and stuff like this. And wouldn't it be nice to do something like that, Because me and my partner, we met through Tinder. So we met through so I don't know, I was gonna say unconventional, but I guess it's conventional now. We met through that sort of thing. So I was thinking, okay, if we can do maybe something, interact with each other like a networking event like this, promoting singles and that sort of thing. Maybe you can find your special someone, or just maybe a new friend that you can hang with, or just come for a game of backgammon or something. I don't know, something like that, or chess. You know what I mean? But
No, I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I think it's great. It's great you've set this up, and it's helping people to connect and possibly meet, their new partner, their new friend, their new soulmate, like or just to socialize.
yeah, yeah. Like literally, this is like we're finding all of this. We're in the stage now me and my team of trying to get funding
Mm,
so we can do a bit more. So yeah, we're just waiting for that. But literally, everyone's just sort of like getting together, coming up with ideas, chipping in, and yeah, making these sort of things, these events happen. We just want to do more, man. It's just so I just like the feedback. I don't want to go get cold on it. I want it to keep happening. I want us to keep producing stuff, while the
Mm,
buzz is there, and who knows what can transpire from it. So yeah, we're always looking for like new ideas and events, and we try and like get like surveys out for people of what things they'd want in their community. We talk. We're part of because we're in a Barnet area, so
mm,
we're partners with Young Barnet Foundation. So we talk to them and we go to their meetings that they hold, and we try to get an idea of what the community is missing, what we can sort of incorporate, that sort of thing. So, yeah, we're community focused, man, and we really just want to try and make a difference. Because I tell you, it's not nice like seeing people alone, seeing people not socializing, and I mean, some a lot of the times, like just for my sister, for example, she wasn't bothered by it, but I mean, she said she wasn't, and she said she was, so just knowing that you're there by yourself. I want you to have the best sort of life you can, and if there's any way I can sort of try and help her and people like her, if I can do this, then I'll try and do it, man, and it will work because I'm that kind of I'm very determined, so yeah, it'll work or yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we just keep pushing.
yeah, definitely. And I think that's the best approach to have. And I think it's that like compound effect, isn't it? You got to start somewhere, and the more you do it and you just show up, and I think, you because you care and your heart's in it and you want to give back and you want to help people and you want to help your sister and you want to build on things and you put in the effort to get funding and have these meetings and stuff and your community focus. I think you've got all the right cogs working in the right direction anyway. And I
Yeah,
think things just take time now, now and then. But I think you're putting the reps in for it, so you'll get results. And I think the results will follow in the people that attend these events, and the feedback you get must be awesome. And I just think it's great what you're doing, because it's really really helping people.
yeah, yeah, and also I think because I'm slightly older than you, I believe anyway, and I remember back in the day, yeah, you look like you look baby compared to me. I'm not very old, but I remember a time, man, where like the things are a bit more community focused in general, like
Yeah, yeah,
you'd pass someone in London anyway. I don't know what it's like your neck of the woods or anywhere else, but in London, you pass someone, you say, hello. You'd help someone across the road, that sort of thing, man. It's just more. My godfather he used to live. He's not with us now, but he used to live in Notting Hill Carnival. He used to live in Portobello Road, and every carnival, he always used to have his door open, right? And he'd cook all this food and stuff like this, innit? And then people he didn't never knew them. They'd come into the house and all that kind of thing. He'd be like, yeah, he'd have all the spread there and they get the paper plates, and start having the food and all that kind of stuff. And you weren't charging them or nothing. It was that kind of. I remember those sort of things. I remember going out, and my mum be like, "Yeah, just like, yeah, come back when it's like dinner time. You need to check up on me in case, if it happens to me. It was just like I'm playing with the kids in the park. I'll be back in, dinner time. Sometimes I stay later than the time I'm supposed to come out, but it was that sort of thing. I don't even see a lot of this in London anymore. I don't see kids out like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't. That feeling's gone, man. And I speak to a lot of people my age, and yeah, we just don't see it as much anymore. Everyone's sort of on their phones more. It's more of a digital world, isn't it? And yeah, I do miss the community feel. I miss the camaraderie people used to have with each other, that friendly sort of vibe. So I think that's also part of it. Just wanting to get that back in general. Try to sort of try to do my bit anyway, just to put that within the community at least, you know?
yeah. No, I love you. I love that you shared that about your godfather, and I think it's definitely important, isn't it, to have that community feel and people to feel comfortable and able to connect with their neighbor, to connect with people in their area where they live, and not worry about certain things. And I think that's really positive that your godfather. Did you say godfather, right?
Yeah,
Godfather.
Godfather, yeah, yeah.
In he was cooking and freely giving food to people, and it shows what a nice person he was. And I think that's instilled in you as well. And I think it's what people need that connectivity and people being positive and friendly, and cooking food for them, and being part of the community. And like you said, I think in London, it's really fast paced of life, but I mean, it's fast paced life everywhere, really. But people, I think, are sucked into their phones or what's going on in their lives, and I think it's just taking a step back and connecting with your community. And I think that's what people need to do more of. And I think, through what you're doing, it's helping people to kind of do that
Yeah.
and to connect with the community and instilling that back in people because it's important because people might have a lot going on in their lives, and for them to connect with someone in where they live, to feel comfortable to talk to their neighbor, to feel comfortable where talking to people in the environment um can make a big difference to them. Because a lot of people sometimes, have neighbors and stuff, and they don't even. I mean, a lot majority of people don't even talk to their neighbors. I don't know if it's a culture thing or where you live. I mean, where I live, where I grew up in Nottingham, like it's very much like head down, just get on with stuff.
Oh,
No one's
really?
got, yeah,
Oh,
no one's got. It's kind of similar to like parts of
interesting.
London, but like where I live now, it's slower pace of life down in Cornwall. It's people will I don't know, people are a bit more approachable sometimes. But then again, you get people who aren't approachable. So it's I'm quite tuned into that. But I think it's nice when you do have that sense of community because
Yeah.
my day I won't go too much on about it, but in my day job I have to work within the community. I have to network with different charities and stuff. So, doing that, in your everyday life, I think is super important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you just, before you could just say hello and stuff like this, but yeah, I think now, I think, oh, maybe I won't think I'm weirdo or something. Like, I think I'm a creep, or so I think, nah, I'll leave it. Like, that sort
Yeah.
of thing, isn't it? But yeah, man.
I tell you a funny story just reminded me of when I last went to London with my girlfriend and my mate, we went through Soho and Chinatown, and we went on one of those like dodgy rickshaw things where people pedal around and you
Yeah,
pay
yeah,
them.
yeah. I got the music and the lights.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and we went on one of them in the evening. And my girlfriend's waving like this to people, and there's people everywhere, and I'm like, you won't get anyone wave back. I was like, no, and no one waved back. No
yeah,
one, nobody. And she was like
yeah,
out waving at people and stuff. And I found that quite crazy. Do you know what I mean? If I see someone wave at me randomly, I wave them back. It might feel a bit weird, but
yeah. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, at all.
yeah, was like,
Yeah,
I was like, I said, someone's going to probably punch us in a minute. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. She got a dose of London, unfortunately. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right now, isn't it?
but but yeah, I think it just takes one person. Do you know what I mean? To make that difference and to put themselves out there to connect. And I think we're all connected. You really, do you know what I mean? Like deep down. And it just takes that one person to do what you're doing, and it just kind of builds that gap, bridges that gap.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna sound really corny, but it's like, yeah, be the change you want to see. It's that sort of
Yeah,
thing, isn't it?
exactly.
It's like you try and instead of like, oh, why don't they do this? Why don't they help? Like, if you do it, if everyone has that sort of mindset, then who knows?
Yeah, definitely. And like, have you got any role models or anyone like that in general, whether that's personal, professionally,
Yeah,
or could
yeah,
be
yeah.
anyone?
I have, yeah. So I would say, funny enough, actually, weirdly enough, he's become a role model, 50 Cent, and not for his music or anything like that.
Yeah,
It's more how he sort of always stayed relevant because I read one of his books and he talked about how he performed one time and the music just sort of like, the crowd weren't really vibing with him. So you kind of realize, okay, I need to diversify and go into something else because, I could see this is panning off. Let me go into this. And I think it's that sort of mindset just to be relevant and know, like, be intuitive to your surroundings and know what the people want and diversify your talents and stuff like this. And I think it's quite motivational. So, yeah, it's funny from that sort of side. And yeah, Muhammad Ali was always a great role model because he kind of started the whole, just in the sports sense, he kind of started the whole pay-per-view entertainment, kind of the pantomime side of stuff. He kind of started all that really. That you wanted instead of the fights, you really wanted to see, hear what he had to say, that sort of thing. So yeah, he was a role model. There's some like YouTubers like I used to follow like a Tyro Magnus. He was pretty cool. He's like an American YouTuber. Just of him being consistent. What I liked about him, he's been going for years and he'd be consistent always always releasing videos. He said it was on two Pacific days. He did this for like over like 10, 15 years, and he's gone so big. But just seeing that consistency to do that, and that's something that I find very difficult. The consistency. I may be willing to do it all guns going, all guns raving like that sort of thing, but I get there'd be this point where like, oh, I can't keep it up. But to just keep going, keep persevering, even if like his views weren't that great, he'd keep going, that sort of thing. So I love sort of motivation of him, and yeah. Oh, Mel Robbins as well. She's another one. She's on YouTube. I love her, which goes the 5 second rule. That I don't know if you've heard. Have you heard of the 5 second rule?
I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's literally where if you're stuck in doing anything, let's just say, for example, you're in a meeting and you want to say something, but you're scared you'll be judged or something like that. She has this thing where you just count to five, like five, count down from five, five, four, three, two, one, and just do it. Yeah, that sort of helps. It just gets you just to lift off, just to go for it. And I've actually used that for a while now, and it's made me do things that even I haven't been in the mood to do. I'll do the five, four, three, two, one. I'll just get up and just do it, that sort of thing. Because I'm trying to do cold showers now. I heard that's good for you, so I've been trying to do
Oh,
that. Yeah, yeah. I try to do it two
yeah.
times a week. I can only handle 2 times a week. Yeah, but it's supposed to like jerk your body into action, that sort of thing. And I actually doing it, I've noticed the differences actually. I've been more sort of on it, like when I've had these cold showers. But I can only do them like for 5 minutes and 2 times a week. And then like the shower be going and it's freezing. I was like, come on, you can do it, you can do it. And I do the five, four, three, two, one. Ah, that's all going into it. That's the thing. So yeah, yeah. There's others that I can't even think the names of, but yeah, those are the ones that come to mind.
No, that's awesome, man. And I think, like you said, there's something about cold showers, isn't there? It does kind of make part of you feel alive, and I think you do feel this refreshness after doing it. Because that,
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's something about because I think it's not it's the uncomfortability because it's like yeah you're comfortable having a warm shower, but it's that something where it's like it's traumatizing you. It's getting the body into action. It's not what you expect, and it gets the blood flowing, and yeah, there's so many things behind it. But yeah, I just find it's beneficial, man, for me anyway.
yeah, definitely. And I think it's great. I think we all have to have these things that help us, don't we? And things that help motivate us or, help us in our well-being. And I think it's great to have, role models as well, mentors like, as you described. And I think I quite like 50 Cent as well. And I find it quite funny, some of the stuff he puts on his social media as well. Like about, I won't get too much into it, but he was saying something about P. Diddy for ages, wasn't he? And
Yeah,
he
he was.
just kept,
Yeah,
he was
he was
loads
relentless.
of,
But it's funny when he
um,
says like, yeah, he's 50 Cent here, and then he's like Curtis Jackson in other scenarios
yeah,
and stuff. The way he talks is very interesting.
yeah, because I want to see a series he did. Is it Power?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I need to watch that. That looks quite good.
yeah. I've seen a couple episodes, but I'm like, I'm a person. I'll be into it, but if I miss one, then that's it, man. That's it. That's it
Yeah,
for me.
yeah,
I'm that sort of person, so I need to get back into it and I'll watch it again.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah. He's good, and I think he's come from he started out from nowhere. Do you know what I mean? And he's built up himself, and I think I like the stories of people starting out and coming from nothing. I think it's really inspiring, and I think, but yeah, good role model choice. I think Muhammad Ali as well. He was really good. Um, I think I saw a footage of him where he's like, and where was we doing? He's on like a talk show or something like that.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And he's got some kid who's boxing. He's like, come on, come on.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The little sparring thing. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, what a guy.
yeah.
No, I
But
appreciate you sharing.
it's also sorry, so I was gonna say it's also movies as well. Like you were just saying, yeah, not just role models, man. There's certain movies where it's like it's that thing in it, starting from nothing and being like the Scarface, movies like that. Even War Dogs, I watched the other day. You ever seen War Dogs with Jonah Hill when he's doing that?
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's a good film.
yeah, yeah, I do like those. If I'm working, if I'm doing forms or something like that, I like to put their movies on. Wolf of
Mm,
Wall Street, those sort of things where
yeah,
they're at a low point and they just like building themselves. Now, what tends to happen, they build themselves too much and they go downhill. So I'm not trying to have that.
Yeah.
But it's just that when they're getting this stuff in it from nothing, it's that drive that they have, man. I'm addicted to movies like that. I love movies like
Mm. Do you like the Rocky films?
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. I was watching Rocky.
Yeah.
I was watching that yeah, last week. Yeah, 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 I was watching Rocky. I watched Rocky up. I watched all of them, but I watched Rocky up to from 1 to 3. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I watched that.
Yeah, they're like similar to that as well. And I think it's that triumvirate of adversity, isn't it? And I think Stallone's like the real deal, isn't he? His documentary is really good on Netflix called Sly. He talks about his life and starting out because he started from nothing and no one took him serious. And trying to think of other people. Um,
Arnie's good. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's good.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And he was talking. Yeah, he was like the biggest thing in America, and he was a lot of people dismissive of him because of his accent. They said, "Yeah, you'll never be a blockbuster star and all this kind of stuff." And then look, he was like Mr. America at one point, you know. There's that, like that sort of like when someone tells you you can't do it. I'm definitely a person like that. When someone says I can't do it, I'm the person to try and say, right, you watch. I'm gonna show you, man. I can do this. I'm that sort of. Yeah, I think I am anyway. That sort of person.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, it's using things as motivation and flipping it around, isn't it, to your advantage?
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think whether that's sometimes games as well, whereas some video games got stories that, quite motivating and seeing things through, their their view and stuff.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's quite powerful. Was there any books that you read in at all? Do you read much?
Yeah, yes, there is a book. It's about the brain. Hold on. I've got it here. It is sometimes I don't remember the titles. Psycho Cybernetics. Can you see that?
Wow.
Psycho-cybernetics. It's all about the science of the mind and sort of how to program your mind to work in a certain way. And the habits that we do are the reasons why we don't accomplish certain goals because the way we see ourselves and it's that sort of thing. It's like mastering your mind sort of thing. So I'm reading this. It's really, really good book. I've read it. I'm nearly finished it, but I'm going to read it again because of this parts I just for myself I don't take in. So I need to take it in again. So, but yeah, that's the book I'm reading at the moment. Really good book. I really would, yeah, suggest that you buy that if you want to.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'll check it out. It looks great. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But where can people find you on social media, email if they want to contact you,
Yes.
be
Yes.
a part of
Yes.
what you're doing?
Yeah, so yeah, my website www.shynne, that's shynne.co.uk. It's a play on words. It's like shyness and shine. It's like a play on words, but I should tell no one knows that. I think you're the only one that knows that, so I need to tell more people about it. But yeah, so www.shine.co.uk. That's my website. The same for my Insta Shine, no, at Shine, CIC, I think it is and my email marlon at shine.co.uk. Yeah, man, you'll find me on there just promoting stuff. I think I'm on TikTok as well and LinkedIn. I just can't remember the handles for those. But it's
Oh, so
Shine.
good. There's
But
that many.
yeah,
I'll
but you
put it.
got to
I'll
put like
put it
an
in the
under.
thing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll put it in the link in the description for people to find you. And I wish you continued success in everything that you're doing.
I appreciate
And
it. You
when I'm
too.
next in London, I'll message you and I'll try and swing by.
Yeah, yeah, be good, man. Go for a drink and all that, We could talk
Yeah, of
about
course,
our
man.
favorite Rocky movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'd be good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but all the best, Martin. And it was great talking to you. And I wish you well in everything that you're doing.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me. Lovely speaking with you. Take care.
No, you too, boss. No
Ah,
worries.
cheers.
Cheers, Martin. Cheers, everyone.